Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome back to Real Reds Talk. This is your breaking news show. It's been a while since we've had one. We've been so filled up with transfers over the past 4 weeks. It's nice to actually talk about other stuff. Well, maybe it's not as nice because the main topic today, Luke Shaw, is broken completely. He is, unsalvageable at this point. Garnacho salary demands. Napoli's sporting director has been talking about that move. A few more details coming out on that. We've had Tyrell Malacia's deal confirmed to PSV. And also Alphonso Davies, the United target, is set to stay at Bayern Munich after reaching an agreement on his contract. So I want to dive into the left-back situation because I don't think it's just going to be Patrick Dorgu specifically. But as we are on the topic of left-backs, Luke Shaw, as we found out this morning, Shreyas, was set to return to first-team action. A lot of hope around it, especially given the circumstance with Lisandro Martinez being injured. But unfortunately, which is, we kind of all expected this, he's had another setback, which will now keep him out until March, which means, I mean, you put the stat in the chat before. I just want to read it out for people. Luke Shaw has missed 330 games and been injured for 1,606 days since joining Manchester United. Nearly 5 years of injury is what we're talking about here. So it's just, I mean, can you even come back at all? You know, will it be one of those cases maybe where you see a bit of an early retirement? Because it's getting bad now, isn't it?
It is. And I think the most concerning thing about, this whole situation is these are not even injuries that he is picking up mid-game.
Yeah.
Like, you can, sometimes you can, come around the fact that, in a game, he's done his knee, or during a tackle or aggressiveness in, against a, certain opposition player, he's fallen down at an awkward angle and then he's picked up a knock. That is, still a situation where you can, somewhat understand that, because of unforeseen or, unfortunate situation, something is happening. These are injuries that he's picking up in training sessions.
Yeah.
Which is very, very alarming. I mean, with Lisandro, at least, the kind of injuries that we are seeing are on the pitch. And as unfortunate as they may be, at least, they are not situations where he's in, back in training after a big injury for like a couple of weeks, and just after 2 weeks before even making an appearance on the pitch, he's out for the next 4 to 6 weeks again.
Yeah.
So with Luke Shaw, it has been concerning, not just this season, but for the past 3 to 4 years. It's been very concerning about his injury record. And there is genuinely no doubt about the kind of talent and quality that he possesses, and no one is here to argue the fact that he's not a good footballer. But there comes a point where it reaches its limit, that how much can you actually wait for a player to get back to that point, that they can feature for you week in and week out. And he's a player who holds a very strong mainstay in this team, because whenever he's there, either as a wing back or I would even say as a left-sided centre back, there is an immense difference that he brings to this team, which is why it is even more irritating that he's not in this team. Because if he's there, I can actually see us playing much more better and with much more stability than we do right now. So, and I think from United's perspective as well, it has been very poor income. When you have to look into the type of signings that we've made to fill in that void, that okay, Luke Shaw can be injured, but when he's back, he's quality. So we can sign someone in who can, fill that void till the time that he is injured. And in that period, the only two left backs that we've actually signed have been Alex Telles and Tyrell Malacia. Malacia has been out for quite some time, and now he's out on loan back to PSV Eindhoven. And Telles wasn't really good enough to feature as a left back for us, and didn't even play as many games till the time that Luke Shaw actually got injured. So I think from United, very poor planning as to that left back situation. They've been very casual in their approach when it comes to fullbacks. And even last year as well, I hope that they take it as a wake up call that Dallo or Wan-Bissaka was playing for us for quite some time as left back, and we don't have a natural left back in that locker. But they still really didn't invest in that department, and we are facing the brunt of it, and the manager is facing the brunt of it.
I don't think it's only just the fact of his ability as well, because I think he is a really, really good player when he is fit. I think he's one of the best left backs in the league, if not in Europe, top 5. Definitely a conversation. But he's a seniority as well. United are lacking a lot of leaders at the minute, and a lot of, obviously with him being there for nearly a decade now, I think, at Manchester United, which is crazy, right? Louis van Gaal bought him in 2014, I believe. So he pretty much, or it might be 2015. So just reaching 10 years at the club. And for people who I understand it, is like, oh, fuck off. I mean, I saw a tweet before saying take him out the back like a racehorse or something. I was like, Jesus Christ. I think people, it's very important to remember this is still like a human being, and anyone who's putting these kind of things, you know, and maybe I've said similar things about Martial when I was getting frustrated when he was getting injured, but I think it is important to put it into perspective that these guys want to be playing more than we do. They want to be on the pitch more than anyone
I think
else.
it kills
Like,
them even more.
injuries are
It
not
kills them even.
their fault, you know?
Yeah. I think it kills them even more that they're not able to feature for the club and actually play the sport that, they've practically contributed their life to. And I just think that, with Luke Shaw, another thing is why fans get a little more agitated is the appearances that he's made during the last 2 seasons. Most of them have been for England and the national team.
Yep.
Even while he was injured, he's gone with the national team for training. So, and I think it was the Euros final was the last time that he started. So, and after coming back, he once again picked up an injury. So that actually rubs the fan in the wrong way.
I get that, but just to counter that as well, if you're a football player, right, and so towards the back end of last season, obviously you got rushed back, I think it was against Luton, Ten Hag and his staff and there was a load of stuff around that saying that maybe I forced myself back, maybe the staff rushed me back because it was desperate, and then they ended up having a setback, and then, like, obviously he couldn't play for the rest of the season then, but as the tournament was progressing, he was starting to get back into form then. So if I'm a player and a coach comes to me and says, do you want to go to a World Cup, which you've got a very good chance at winning, by the way, Euros, sorry, not World, it was Euros, wasn't it?
Euros.
You've got a very good chance of winning it with England. You're the favourites to win the tournament, and you get to the final, obviously. If I'm a player, there's no way I'm saying no to that. Not a chance.
Yeah.
No way. People might say, oh, it's stupid, or he's going to get injured again. I think the guy's just injury prone anyway. So he would still be sat on the sidelines now, in my opinion, thinking maybe I should have just gone. That's the way I see it personally. But I get why fans, I suppose, are annoyed a little bit. But it's a shame, innit? It's just because Mount and Shaw, I think, are both two.
When fit, they're genuinely exceptional players. And people say that, we don't have players who can play naturally in that inside 10 positions besides Bruno that know how to operate as a 10. Mason Mount is probably one of the best players in Europe to play a system like this and to function in this system with the kind of running and pressing that you have to do. Mason Mount is probably one of the best players that you'll ever find to play in here. But injuries are just, really, really unfortunate. And you can also argue the fact with Mason Mount is he's been overplayed in the younger stages of his career. He's genuinely been overplayed, whether it's for the England national team, whether it's for Chelsea as well. His
style, the natural style he plays at, like the intensity.
Yeah, he got played to the ground. He got played to the ground. And with Luke Shaw, I think ever since he had that ACL injury, I think it was 2017 or 18, he picked that injury up. He's just never been able to stay fit after that. Like, it's not been like Luke Shaw is fit and playing for us 2 seasons in a row or 3 seasons in a row. He's always been picking up injuries. And I think when you undergo that, an injury of that sort of severity, your body takes a massive toll. Especially, if you're playing as a fullback and the amount of bombing on and positioning awareness and everything that you need to do, the body cannot take that much. And that's one of the reasons why Luke Shaw is so injury prone.
I think in this left-sided centre-half role now where Lisandro's vacated, because obviously he's going to be out for a year, he would have been perfect. Literally a perfect. We saw him in a back four against Haaland in a derby, I think it was. I think he played there as well. I might be wrong about this, but near the times he was playing Barcelona under Eric Ten Hag, I'm pretty sure Lisandro was missing for that, and he stepped up and played really, really well. So you can only imagine in a back three. Like, I don't expect to see Luke Shaw as a wing back. I don't think he would. Maybe he would have done a couple of jobs there, and he would have done well. But because of his injuries, I actually think it's suited to him more playing that left-sided centre half, because it's not exactly. One, he's got the pace to get back anyway if needs be, but we're not exactly pressing right up the pitch at the minute. A lot of the defending
he just
is kind
needs to do the distribution work out there, and he's good with the ball. He's got a very good vision as of a passing range, and like Lisandro likes to shoot a lot, Shaw has got a good foot on him
as well. Like really, really one of the. I think there was a Q&A that a couple of United players were doing, and they all got asked who's the strongest at the club. Shaw was one of them. I think who's one of the best finishers or most surprising finishers. Shaw was one of them. Yeah. I still remember was it the goal against City where Henderson threw it out?
Derby. Dean
Yeah,
Anderson switched it out, and then he bombed
he
forward, had a
bombed forward,
1-2, and
didn't
scored.
he? Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah. Like he's genuinely a really, really talented player, and that's why it's devastating because you see this sometimes with players where it's like, you know, it's someone who's at the club. He's obviously on a really decent wage. Ineos will probably look at this in the summer and be like, somehow we need to get him off the books, or maybe he just needs to go to a league like Martial, for example. Now he's gone to Greece, right? He's playing in
Athens. Yeah,
Greece, Athens, and I think he's playing more regular there, and that's because the demand and the intensity is completely different to the Premier League. So
yeah.
it's probably a case of he needs to move out on, unfortunately. But you can't be having any slackers in this league, can you? And you can't be relying on it. I mean, Gamer TV is just put in the chat there. Luke Shaw career at United, 11 seasons, available for 3.5, injured for 7.5, a game missed from injury 330, which we touched on before. It's just crazy, isn't it? It's absolutely crazy. He's also said if Ineos did not get Shaw off the books, I'm gonna be so pissed. This guy's worse than Martial, and he's referred to as glass legs. Yeah, it's unfortunate, but yeah, what do you do about that situation now, Shreyas? Because no Lisandro, obviously Shaw, we expect to come back. He's not coming back. Who is the best fit for that role in your opinion, and why?
Keep your fingers crossed. Maybe because we see, I think Eindhoven is his name, who we signed from
Yes.
Arsenal Academy. I think he is going to be featuring there very soon. Because I think to maintain that sort of balance in that back three, you cannot go in with, Delict. I don't think Delict and Maguire and Euro fit as a partnership.
Yeah.
I've seen a lot of games where these guys have started together, and I just don't think that they gel well together as a partnership as that back three. I think the best bet that you got is play Delict as that left-sided centre half, play Maguire as the centerpiece, and then shift Mazraoui in that right-sided space. I think that's your best bet to actually make something out of this situation that you are in. You're going to have to play Dallo as one of the wing backs anyways, and then we just need to wish Dogo hits the ground running. I know it's going to be very, very. I just don't know.
Pressure.
And yeah, it's going to be very high pressure. And I'll say this as well. It's going to be very unfair on the player as well to expect him to come in and just, start shining in a team that has not been performing anywhere close to the level where we should genuinely be performing. But this is the situation. It's going to be Dogo on the left. It's going to be Dallo on the right. And Mazraoui. I think Mazraoui, Delict, and Maguire are your best bet to make something of this season.
I think Mazzara is the best option there for me personally. Yeah. Whether you want to put Euro in the left-sided centre half and move Maz out to the right and have the latest central one, that's the way I would personally go because I think Mazzara is really good at that. I really don't think he suits those wing-back roles at all. Just doesn't. It's not tied into his game, and he isn't great in the final third. He's good in terms of with the ball under pressure and getting and offering solutions, but being attacking and having that instinct in the final third, he just hasn't got it for me personally. So I would like to see Mazraoui there. I'm sure at least he's got options there. There was at a point last season, obviously, when we were playing Johnny Evans and Casemiro at centre back. So we're a long, long way from that, and kind of in grateful. I am grateful, should I say, for Delit, bringing in Delit. Because he has been someone who people were moaning about his injury situations as well, and Mazraoui's injury situations. Not one of them, touch wood, has had a big injury yet, or has been out for a number of weeks, or missed loads of games. Both of them have been available pretty much every single game, and for the price of 50-odd million quid, that's a fucking steal, in my opinion. So I'm happy with that, and I think those two will probably heavily feature for the next couple of weeks, I'd imagine.
Yeah.
I want to turn the gears slightly. There was a situation with Garnacho. Romano reported this morning that the Napoli director Giovanni Manna said, "We made an important bid to United for Garnacho. We really wanted him. We weren't able to agree on personal terms with Alejandro. He requested an important salary to leave in January, and we must respect our players." That's interesting because I'm pretty sure I saw terms agreed with Garnacho. And he was happy to go from quite a few journalists. Do you think this is a case of him trying to save face because he didn't offer enough money to United?
I think it is. I think it is genuinely a case where he's trying to save face because Romano actually reported it as well. But that with Napoli, he's convinced by the project, and because McTominay has moved there and had a very good stint there, the club as well as the player are actually willing to make the move. The only question is the type of transfer fee that will be submitted to Manchester United, and that is the only point where that this deal didn't go through because if Napoli actually offered 65 to 70 odd mil for Garnacho, I'm very sure that Ineos would have taken that bet and gone in and made a couple of more signings this window.
Yeah.
But because their evaluations didn't match, I think that is the only reason why it didn't happen.
Do you think he's happy at United?
I think right now it's questionable. He's an academy guy. He knows what the club is all about. He's been here for like a couple of years now in the first team. So he does love the club and he does see the opportunity that this club presents as well. But I think the kind of situation that the club is in right now when it comes to results as well as our positioning in the table, I think that is something that might actually convince him to go another way. That even if things work out here, it's going to take like 3 to 4 years. I'll generally say this, at least 3 to 4 years for us to get near to those positions where we can say we can comfortably finish in the top 4, considering we still stick with this manager. So if another club like a Napoli come knocking or a Madrid come calling, they are clubs that have a very stable future. They are clubs that have a very stable core and a very balanced 11 on top of that. So any player would want to move, barring a couple in this team. I would say if teams of that caliber do come to us, I'm sure that they'll actually think about moving.
I've always felt like there's kind of an underlying narrative with Garnacho that he's set for like a move to like a Barcelona or something like. Do you know what I mean? It's always been that there, and he strikes me as an ambitious kind of player. And obviously, he's not the same as Cristiano. I know a lot of people keep kind of using him as a comparison. I don't think he'll have a similar career trajectory. I'd be very surprised if he did as Ronaldo. But there is that kind of feel about him that he is ambitious. He wants to win stuff. And at United, in a minute, you're right. I think the immediate future, for sure, 2-3 years, I think we both could probably calmly say that we're not going to be winning a Premier League or a Champions League. So maybe a cup.
I don't know how Omar Barada had come out and said that we're going to win the Premier League by 2028 because you've only got 3 years left now. I don't see it happening. So, like, I would even say this, take Ahmad for example. If Barcelona come knocking for him and they go, we are going to give you like 65 or 70 mil for Ahmad, like in a couple of years time, I'm sure Ahmad will even consider that move, that moving to Barcelona, playing as that right wing, in that right wing spot. Anyone's head would turn, especially when Barca and Madrid come calling. Any players,
I think more so Garnacho though.
Yeah.
Garnacho just has that kind of, because obviously he came from Atletico Madrid, right? So he's played in Spain before. He's Argentinian. They speak the dialect of, is it Spanish or Portuguese? One of the two.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It just has a feel to me. Argentinians famously for Barcelona. I mean, I don't need to tell you that.
You never know. Maybe he goes to Atleti. He goes back to Atleti. Alvarez has been killing it there. Rodrigo de Paul is there as well. They've got 4 to 5 Argentinians already in that team who've been doing really good.
And I feel like there's less pressure. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe Barcelona fans or Spanish fans will tell me any different. But there's less pressure in that league, and you get more time on the ball, better to kind of develop.
Intensity-wise, it's genuinely different, and you cannot compare it to the Prem when it comes to intensity.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So we'll have to wait and see with Garnacho. I do like him. It does seem in the past couple of games, at least, he's starting to adapt. I don't know if you'd agree with that. Tactically, seems like he's getting it a little bit more.
He's been crossing the ball a lot more. He's been, trying to make those cutbacks a lot more. He's not there to the finished product, but you can see progression in his game in that spot. Yeah,
whereas under Ten Hag, it felt like, didn't it? Like he was kind of, when we watched him, it must have been coming from him, where it's like, just be direct, run at your man, and just shoot whenever you get an opportunity. Because United would almost, under Ten Hag, just create chaos on purpose to get those opportunities. And now it feels like he's being coached more into a bit more of an intricate role, and there's a lot more details involved in what he's doing. So naturally, if you're a 20-year-old kid, it's going to take time in it to adapt to that role. But I'm seeing it in a minute. I'm liking it, and long may it continue. I don't know what his contract situation is. I'm not entirely sure.
He just signed an extension
it's
last
recently in
it.
It's not too, so it's not an immediate one.
Yeah.
Mainu is more the one that we need to sort out, but I'm sure we'll have some news on that. And for any updates on those kind of situations, make sure you drop us a follow on our socials, which are in the bottom right-hand corner of the screen: Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok. Steph saying, big up Nick and Shreyas. Gamer TV saying, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, Besiktas are reportedly interested in signing United's Casemiro as Turkish clubs continue to do business this winter. Please just take him off our hands. I'd be grateful. Steph saying, No, I doubt it. I mean, he's on £300,000 a week, and it's kind of like, nah,
Yeah.
I'm all right. I'll stay here. Steph saying Leach was a huge miss. Only centre-back that can carry the ball out of defence and penetrate lines as well. He's the only one who can do that, really, who I've seen. So that makes the build-up even more difficult, which I think you will see again in the next couple of weeks. Just whilst we're on the topic of defenders still, there's quite a lot of stuff about our current defenders. Tyrell Malacia to PSV Eindhoven is completely done. Here we go. PSV will pay his entire wage, and they have a buy option worth £8.3 million. United retain a 30% sell-on clause should that happen. Is that a good deal, all things considered, do you think?
I was expecting 5, so
yeah,
seems like a fair deal.
yeah.
And yeah, I'm sure we signed him off PSV as well.
No, Feyenoord it was.
Feyenoord.
Feyenoord.
Yeah,
I was
so look,
because I was going to say that the other day with Sam. I was like, I went to say, yeah, well, obviously he's going back to the club that he's played for, and then I ended up saying, oh no, he's going back to the league because I realised because I thought it was PSV as well.
It was one of them. So
yeah,
look, I think he's not really featured for us in the past few, couple of years. He's only picked up a few minutes. So yeah, I'm glad that we're at least getting around 8.3 million for him, because I was kind of on the verge where I thought maybe it will be a 3 or at max 5 million deal with add-ons, because we ended up selling Donny for 500k in this window as well. So doesn't really fill you with optimism when it comes to offloading players, especially ones who haven't really played for you as much.
No, it's correct. And I think people are going to see a night and day difference between Patrick Dorgu and Malacia, night and day, in terms of athleticism, pace, how quickly they can cover ground. To be fair, Malacia, when he first came in, was quite good at that, but I think that knee injury has kind of brought him back a bit.
That aggression and physicality that he used to bring, I think that's gone from his game.
He looks off it, doesn't he? He looks way off it. So, yeah, I think that's one transfer people look back at. Look, it didn't work out. I mean, we bought him for around £13 million, I think it was. If we get £8 million back for him after an ACL injury, I think that's pretty successful, to be fair. Plus a 30% sell-on clause. I don't know how people couldn't be happy with that, to be fair. It hasn't worked out. Let's wish him well in Netherlands. Hopefully he's happy there, he does well there, and he wants to stay, and we get a fee, I think. The majority of people will probably agree on that. But let us know your thoughts, everyone, in the chat. Please do smash the like on the video as well and subscribe. We're on 12,658 subs. So, yeah, let's try to get to 13k within the next week or so. That'd be great. Last thing I want to talk about, Alphonso Davies signed a new contract at Bayern Munich. Shreyas, obviously, he's a player that we got linked with for that left wing-back role. I know we brought Dorgu in, but he is one now off the list, Alphonso. So, who would you go and get in the summer for you, personally?
Realistic, unrealistic?
Let's go realistic, because Ineos, in a minute, I don't think they're going to be getting unrealistic signings, are they? So, let's go realistic.
Sure. I'll go Anthony Robinson.
I'll go Anthony. 50, 40?
35 to 45, within that range. If I think it's a fair deal considering his age bracket as well. It's not like he's a 21 or 22-year-old. I think he's a 28 or 27-year-old player. So
I think Fulham will ask for 50 to 60. Personally.
I'm sure Fulham will ask for it, especially because we are going in for him. So they might even ask for 70. But I think in a fair, in a fair space, if it wasn't us, it would be a deal that can be done within, that range of 35 to 45 million, because of his age, and also with the, fact that he's a player who I wouldn't say, has got more he's a very good player. I think in this system, he fits as a glove as well, and he'll do a brilliant job at United, but there's not going to be more progression in his game, because that area of his game where you would say that, he can learn more, he can develop more, that's done. Now is the time where he's going to be a refined player and coming in and, elevating the team. So I think if we can if we can do it within 50 million, I think it would be a very good deal for us, because I think he's genuinely a very good player. And I think he's one of Fulham's best players, a very consistent guy as well. If not him, I get Kerkez is definitely another option. Can bomb on forward, can be aggressive, puts a lot of crosses into the box. And as a wing back, I think he fits in very well in the system. So these two are probably players who you can consider. Kerkez might be a bit more expensive, because of his age, and as well as the fact that Liverpool are in for him as well. So there will surely be a bidding war well, with Bournemouth, and they know how to drive the price of the players up after last season when they sold Solanke. I know that they know how to work around with transfer fees. If not them, I think Nuno Mendes, because he is definitely going to be sold in this summer window. He's someone who's definitely going to be leaving PSG. So if United can throw their hat in the ring for him, I think Nuno Mendes will be first on my list to go for.
I think there's a better left back market at the moment than the striker market, isn't there?
Yeah.
There's a lot of left backs at a minute that you can go for, so it's not as if it's dry. So, yeah, I'd take a number of them, to be fair. Dan Errington saying, with Malacia on that loan, is it an option to buy, an obligation? An option. To buy. Yeah, so if he does well there, it could potentially happen. Alex saying, we're not getting another left wing back. We signed 2 this window. 1, Diego Leon, is for the future. 1 is... You need experience. You need experience, and there will be another wing back. I'm telling you, there's no chance they're going to have Patrick Dorgu as the senior wing back who's going to be playing every single. I doubt it anyway, in my opinion. Grace, I hope that's sarcasm. I really do. It says we don't need a left wing back. We've got Dalot. I'm praying that is sarcasm, and you're not being.
He's someone who I would consider to move to raise funds. If I'm being completely honest with you, if we can, work around a deal where if Dalot is sold, we can sign 2 players or even 1 player in. I would actually take that offer because
he's been linked with Madrid a lot, hasn't he, Dalot?
Every season. For Carvajal's backup or replacement, he gets linked to Madrid every single year for some reason. And look, if Madrid come calling and we can get I would say 40-45 million for him, I'll be all in for that deal.
I agree. I would do that as well. I mean, I feel like people are still kind of wishing on a star with Dalot because he has the odd game where you watch him, you're like, actually, he was pretty good. He was pretty decent today. But too often than not,
consistency is not there.
His consistency really isn't,
and especially
there.
In this system, it's genuinely not there because
he switches off. He makes misplaced passes. He's like,
how many times does he lose his man on the back post? How many times?
Yeah, it's frustrating. Grace saying, if we sell Dalot to Madrid, I'm moving to Spain. I mean, yeah, fair enough. Why would you write off Dorgu before he's played? I'm not writing him off. I'm just saying he's been brought in. I like Dorgu, the profile. I think he fits Amarin's system perfectly. But I'm just saying he's not been brought in. United have bought him as someone who's got a lot of potential. He needs work. He's transitioning into the Premier League. He's not been brought in as like the bang for your buck. This is your left wing back. He's going to play every single game in Europe, and he should be someone who learns alongside a senior wing back, in my opinion, at least. Anyway, I think.
I think it's immense pressure for a player because Dorgu has only been in first team football for a couple of years.
Exactly.
And he's played in Serie A, which is a very different league to the Prem. So even when he comes in, I'm ready to give him time because I think he's a very good and budding talent, but it's going to take him time to adapt to the league. And United is a very difficult club to adapt at because the moment, you come in and you have two average performances, the media comes biting at you.
Yeah.
So let me give
you a perfect example, right? Rasmus Højlund, similar age profile to Dorgu when we bought him, right? Come from the exact same league. We paid £70 million. Everyone was like, play him. And now you look at him play and everyone's like, he needs an experienced striker to learn off in the team. Patrick Dorgu, similar age, came from the same league. Let him develop. He will be a very good player, or at least looks like it. But he needs a senior player above him, like a Luke Shaw, if he was fit and available. And then you have that transition period where you have a player who's 28, 29, 30 going into the 30s. As they're going into the 30s, you then bring through Patrick Dorgu and make him the left. Do you know what I mean? That's usually how it works. Yeah. You don't throw him straight in unless you have a core squad that is really, really good and he can learn quickly.
Yeah, that he has other people to actually turn to and say, what can I do better? Yeah. Or there are certain teams where, players who just come in, other players are performing too well, the team is performing too well that they can still settle in quite well. We're not in that zone where we can provide that ecosystem to a young player or a player who's just moved to the club.
Yeah, spot on. Look, we're going to leave it at that. We're just hitting the 30-minute mark. We will have the preview drop in at 7 o'clock. It'll be a pre-record. Me and Sam are recording that around 5. So that'll drop for you guys at 7. The Leicester preview, of course, we play on Friday. Rude returning to Old Trafford. Can he get a result? Very interesting. There's a lot of narratives going into that game. I'm going to be interested to see if Dorgu potentially gets minutes, if someone like a Cheeto or Martin will be on the bench. Yeah, fascinating to see. Obviously, we'll be live for that game. I might be at the game, so it might not be myself. But we'll have some live content either way around it. And like I said at the start of the show, if you want to drop us a follow on the socials, Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok, we have all the news stories by the minute pretty much over on there. So drop us a follow. And yes, subscribe to the channel, smash a like in the video for us. This has been your breaking news show. Thank you to Shreyas. Thank you to everybody watching. We shall see you guys in the next